be intellectually empowered, so once we become free, that we are able to implement our own systems, institutions, and processes, and to be able to run our own countries. So those leaders, including Geingob, had the foresight and the vision that we have to equip Namibians and Africans so that once the war for freedom is over, we are able to step in and run our own countries.
Yeah, so it shows, obviously, where President Geingob cut his political teeth. You know, it was an exile. And where he was imbued with the spirit of Pan-Africanism. You know, he learned from the best. And this is something that he carried over in his later political life in Namibia. And one of the most outstanding things about Dr. Geingob was the fact that he saw no tribe. Dr. Geingob never saw a tribe. To him, we were all Namibians. And this is why one of the things that he was fond of saying was that nobody must be excluded from the Namibian house, because together we are stronger, and this is what he used to like saying.
And there's overwhelming consensus in that regard. Almost every tribute that we heard over the past close to 3 weeks made mention of that very fact. President Thabo Mbeki also said that there are few leaders whom he has met on the African continent who are as passionate about the cause of Africa as Dr. Geingob was. And therefore, it is such an immense loss for the continent.
Yes, indeed. There is one of the former presidents. This is President Chissano of Mozambique, the former president of Mozambique. Again, a comrade in arms of Dr. Geingob. They obviously met in exile as freedom fighters. President Chissano, a freedom fighter with the Frelimo organization in Mozambique.
We do know that SADC, including Namibia, continues to provide support to Mozambique, given the unrest that intermittently flares up in Mozambique.
Yeah.
So they're here to show their support after having received support also from Namibia, from Dr. Geingob. It is absolutely precious to witness. And despite the overwhelming sadness, I do believe one can draw support, the family, the loved ones, from the numbers, from the presence of these individuals who are here to show that we care, we're here for you as a family.
In fact, the Namibian people came out in their thousands to file past the body of Dr. Geingob to pay their last respects, where it was lying in state at Parliament Gardens. And it was absolutely overwhelming to see. They filed past the body throughout the whole night. This is the family, these are the children of Dr. Geingob making their way into the stadium, which should herald the imminent arrival of the casket, which will be accompanied by the widow, former First Lady Monica Geingob, as well as the chief mourner. These are the sons of Dr. Geingob. In fact, it's the whole family making their way into Independence Stadium. And this will be followed very shortly by the arrival of the casket.
One has to acknowledge that they have dealt with these 3 weeks with so much grace, realizing that he was the people's president that shared him with us.
Announce the arrival of the children of President Dr.Hage. These are his children making their way to the tent.
The stadium is full, it's fully packed, and this is also a measure of the esteem that Namibians held for their president. The body, for those that were not able to pay their respects and view the body, Dr. Geingob will also lie in state here at Independence Stadium. So those that were not able to pay their respects yesterday can do so today. And there will be plenty of time once the VIPs have viewed the body, and they have left the stadium, the public can then come and view the body. And it will lie in state the whole night until tomorrow morning, when it will be taken in a military procession to Heroes Acre, where he will be laid to rest.
For those who are unable to make it to the Independence Stadium today, for those who may be elsewhere in the country, equally unable to make it here, provision has been made across the country in all regions where you can view the proceedings on NBC. In fact, if you are elsewhere in the diaspora, we have made provision for you that you're able to follow the proceedings today regarding the memorial service, but also as far as tomorrow's state funeral is concerned.
Yes, and for our viewers in the diaspora, they can watch the proceedings on YouTube, on social media, YouTube, but you can also download NBC Plus, which is the NBC app, and you can view the proceedings on that app, apart from YouTube. And for the rest of Africa, where DSTV has a footprint, DSTV has opened the channel, the NBC channel, and viewers can access NBC on their DSTV decoder, as well as the DSTV audio, because all the NBC radio stations are on DSTV, so they can follow on DSTV audio as well.
The proceedings can be followed on all these platforms, including the app in real time. We do know that many, despite having a television set, still prefer to listen to their radio. So all 11 radio stations of the NBC are covering the proceedings as they unfold in real time. It's about 8 minutes before the memorial service is scheduled to start here at the Independence Stadium in Windhoek. The arrival of the casket is imminent for the proceedings to start.
Denver, what time do the proceedings begin tomorrow morning at Heroes Acre?
Tomorrow morning, the proceedings are scheduled to start at 10 o'clock at Heroes Acre. We do know that a limited number of people
Can I just interrupt you? In your foreground on your screens there is the President of Malawi, President Chakwera. And there in the ubiquitous scarf is President Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe. And seated next to him is President Masisi of Botswana, who was also a close friend of President Geingob, who he regarded as his older brother.
Yes, so the proceedings are scheduled to start at 10 o'clock tomorrow. We do know that there's limited capacity at Heroes Acre. For those who will not be able to physically make it to Heroes Acre on account of limited capacity, screens will be erected here at Independence Stadium, so you may view the proceedings from Independence Stadium. Of course, if you want to view it from home and elsewhere, you are able to view the proceedings on all those NBC platforms. On every single country where MultiChoice has a footprint, you will be able to have access to the proceedings in real time as it unfolds.
Yes, indeed, Denver. We can see a dignitary arriving, and one of the last dignitaries yet to arrive is the founding president, President Sam Nujoma. and I suspect that this may be him.
I share your suspicion. Followed by the widow, and then followed by the President and Chief Mourner, President Nangolo Mbumba, and the First Lady, Madam Siski Mbumba.
Yes, in fact, they will accompany the casket, and the last scheduled dignitary to arrive before the casket is actually the founding president, President Nyoma.
I am announcing the arrival of His Excellency Dr. Sam Safisuna Nyoma, founding president of the Republic of Namibia.
President Sam Nyoma, a long-time comrade in arms of Dr.Hage Geingob, in fact, appointed him as the SWAPO representative to the United Nations, where the Troika, as they called themselves, it was the late Theo Ben-Gurion and the late Hidipo Hamutenga and President Geingob, where they were known as the Troika, and where together they would propagate the struggle of the Namibian people, and they worked very closely together to such an extent that they became best friends. And they were absolutely united in their single-minded goal to liberate the country. And in fact, this is the man here, President Nyoma, who made it all possible, who in fact saw the potential in these young men, in particular saw the potential in President Geingob. Because when he came back, as we were preparing for elections, to come back to Namibia for elections, he appointed Geingob as the head of the SWAPO Electoral Elections Directorate, and he was appointed as the leader of the SWAPO Elections Directorate. Obviously, because President Nyoma saw the potential, not only the potential but the intelligence of the man, his ability to organize, and he was a great administrator. And these were qualities that were needed, particularly as we were going into these critical elections.
I think I need to echo your sentiments. President Nyoma certainly had the foresight and the vision, and he could see that these gentlemen would develop into distinguished leaders. It was also President Geingob who then appointed, President Nyoma then appointed President Geingob as the first Prime Minister of the country in 1990. We now see the arrival of the casket with the remains of Dr. Geingob. And everyone at the stadium rising for this solemn moment. We've never as a country witnessed any such moment before.
Because we've never had a sitting head of state dying, so this is a first for us. It's a first for Namibians who are mourning their president, their leader, and it's a first, of course, for his family. It's particularly difficult for his family because they've also lost their father, they've lost their husband, They've lost their brother and grandfather. So it must be particularly difficult for them. More especially having to play out their mourning in the glare of the media. That is particularly difficult.
It must be very, very challenging. Apart from that, we've certainly not lost a sitting president before. We've also not lost a former president before. For all of us, including the two former heads of state, this is a very challenging moment because none of us has ever experienced anything like that. We also see the pallbearers. Of course, for the 2 days, there will be Honorable Afios Harusep, John Mutorwa, Lieutenant General retired Martin Shali, Ben Amatila, McHenry Vanani, and Mangaliso Geingob. The pallbearers for today as well as for tomorrow, walking alongside the casket.
Program is running almost bang on time, so they've kept the time management has been done very well.
Impeccable timing. President Geingob was also very serious about punctuality.
Yes,
It's one of the key features of his character. Punctuality was non-negotiable.
yes,
And his casket arrives almost on the hour, not without significance.
yes. The program's at 2 o'clock. Indeed, it is slightly a minute past 2, and the program is about to get underway.
Apart from the Prime Minister, the Minister of Defence and Veterans Affairs, Frans Kapofi, will also direct the proceedings this afternoon.
Yes, so he will be co-director. Yes. In fact, this glass container, if you will, is something new. Previously, when we've had state funerals, the casket has just been placed on the gun carriage. But here, it's been placed in a glass container. And I guess because the procession yesterday went through the whole of Windhoek and in various suburbs from Katutura to Osholifa to Pioneers Park to Klein Windhoek. So it went through Commersdal as well. So it went throughout the country, throughout the city. And the weather, it has been raining solidly for the last week. And there were indications that it would rain as well yesterday. So this is one of the reasons why the casket has been placed in this glass container. Yesterday, the procession that was carried out by the military was in fact their way of paying homage to their commander-in-chief. And it was very befitting that they took him through the streets of people that he was acquainted with, people that he knew, and some of them who shared trenches with him. So the streets were chosen with a purpose, and these are the streets that he was taken through.
It was also absolutely precious to see Namibians line up along those roads to say goodbye to their president. Some of them incredibly emotional, some of them overcome with sadness, some of them waving their flags.
Yes, they came out in their thousands to bid him farewell.
And we do know that yesterday, of course, was a public holiday for the schools. And we saw a number of school pupils, some of them dressed in school uniform, also lining up to say goodbye to their president.
Yes, in fact, yesterday was a school holiday, so learners and young students didn't go to school yesterday, so they were able and encouraged to come out and bid a farewell to their president.
Not a single person may be left out as per his mantra. He was the people's president, he was everyone's president, whether you're young or old. Many elderly also lying in the streets to bid their president farewell. Casket being placed on the stand from where it will be taken to where it will stand during the proceedings, and most probably where it will remain as it will lie in state during the course of the night until tomorrow, when the remains will be taken to Euros Acre, where they will be interred for his final resting place.
If you've just joined us, welcome to this special tribute broadcast for the late president of Namibia, President Hage Geingob, coming to you from Windhoek's Independence Stadium, where the memorial service is just about to get underway very, very shortly. There have been several foreign heads of state and government who are already here. They will also be giving their tributes. The family is also here. The chief mourner being President Mbumba Mangolo has already made his way here, as well as the widow and the children.
And we see that First Lady, Madam Siski Mbumba, walking alongside Madam Monica Kane.